Today we'll be focusing on a few tips for continental knitting. I'd like to follow up from our class with a few tips on how to carry on your continental knitting techniques. So to begin, I'm just going to be working on a swatch today. I have 30 stitches casted on US 7 DK weight yarn. I like to work in this size. I think it's easier to see what you're doing. It's totally up to you though if you want to work with a different size weight yarn. So this is how I hold the yarn to begin with. I take my left hand and I swoop it under the tail or the working yarn and then up and on top of my pointer finger. Again, it's under with the pinky and then up and across the pointer finger. Okay? So again, one more time, under and on top. And then I'm going to hold my left needle with my casted on stitches with my middle finger and my thumb. And this is what I like to call starting position. Okay? So my working yarn is coming up and over the top of my index finger, through my hand, and then over my pinky. Okay, so like this. And then I'm holding my needle like this, and we're ready to go. If you need to ratchet up your tension, you just can pull down here and then pull up a little bit. So it's important to note that your tension is being kept with your pinky finger here. So get used to the feeling of separating your pinky. You can pull on your yarn and feel it going through your hand like this. And you can see if you hold your fingers too tense, if you're too tight, it won't slide. So you want to make sure that you have it nice and easy going through your hand, okay? So again, starting position, here we are. So knitting, we're going to start with our right needle. It's going to be doing all of our work for us. We're going to slip the very first stitch off of our left hand needle and we're ready to begin. We're just going to slide the needle in, reach back, grab that strand, it's waiting for you, and pull it through. You have a knit stitch. Again, going in, grabbing it, pulling it through. Go in, grab, and you can see the strand is just waiting there for you to complete that knit stitch. Some people like to hold their pinky up. If you feel like your tension is too tight, you can hold your pinky very daintily, and that may help your tension if you're having issues. If your tension is too loose, you can firm up your grip this way by holding your pinky a little bit tighter, and that should increase the tension quite a bit. Tension, of course, is the hardest part to get down. It just takes a bit of practice. Practice makes permanence, and I do strongly encourage you to take some time and focus on feeling the tension of the yarn through your pinky finger. So that way it's nice in a fluid motion from one stitch to the next, like this. And as we reach the end of our swatch, we will turn See, my tension is nice. It's not too tight, it's not too loose. Feels good on the needles. Again, we're going to go under and across the top of the index finger. Gather up our right hand needle. Slip the first stitch. And one more time, just reach in and grab that knit stitch and pull it through. You can see I'm kind of opening up that stitch and pulling the yarn that's waiting for me back through the hole that I'm making. Another thing to keep in mind is I like to keep my needles perpendicular to one another. You may find it's easier to knit with the left hand needle vertical and the right hand needle horizontal. You can see I'm pulling the stitch up and over the top of my left hand needle. Make sure you keep all your stitches here pretty well bunched up towards the tip. It allows you to make a more fluid motion in between each stitch, which is the name of the game in continental knitting. you want the most efficient movement as possible. You see my left index finger is not moving up too much. I'm keeping it pretty close to my work. My right needle actually scrapes my left index finger. Just gently, I kind of have this habit of letting it kind of just drag across my index finger. I don't know why, it's just my own personal thing. And that's the Continental knit stitch. And let's go ahead and move on to purl.